All the supplies that we'll be discussing today, I will leave a link to these in the description box below the video. Make sure to check them out. Hi, I'm Divya and thanks for joining me in my class today. So I wanted to do a video discussing the decoupage supplies that I generally use. I wanted to discuss the products, where I buy them, how I use them, why I prefer these products. So I just wanted to walk you through all the supplies that I personally prefer and use in all my projects, and brands that I prefer, and where I buy them. Most of these supplies are bought online from Indian craft stores, but I do buy some products from local stores, so I might not have links for those, but most of the supplies I will be able to leave a link in the description box below the video. So make sure you check that out. This might turn out to be a lengthy video, so I might maybe split it into parts. Before we get started, couple of things. You will see me excessively sweat. That's because the room I'm sitting in, I always keep my windows closed because there's a lot of dust that comes in. I'm on the third floor. I share a terrace with my studio, so there's nothing above us, so it gets a little hot, and I have turned off the fan because it's a little too noisy, and I didn't want that to interfere. So it does get a little hot, and you will see me sweat, but try and ignore it. The second thing, all the supplies that I'm listing out today are my personal preference. These things sometimes keep changing, so I will keep you guys updated. And there are no hard and fast rules that you should use only what I am suggesting here. But if you've seen my work and if you like what I do, and if you want to achieve the finish that I get, so then these supplies could help. So let's get started. Oh, so at the end of the video, so after the video, you could leave me any questions that you have, either on my YouTube channel, my Instagram page, or my Facebook page. They're all under the same handle, Yelling Yellow. Leave me any questions that you have, and I promise I'll definitely get back to you guys. And if you've liked this video and you want me to make more of this kind, also let me know, because feedback really helps me bring out the best content for you guys. I will add subtitles at the bottom of the video, so if you're not able to understand my accent, or if I'm speaking too fast or slow, you could turn the voice off and just read the subtitles. In this video, I will just be walking you through all the supplies, and then maybe showing it to you, and maybe showing the product to you. But I'll do another video where I'm showing you how to use these products. So the first topic is paper, very important. Just to give you an idea, I use, and you could use, pattern papers, decoupage papers, rice papers, gift wrapping papers, decoupage napkins, magazine cutouts, photographs. You can even print your own paper. Pattern papers are thick sheets. They can come from the range of they're anywhere between 100 GSM to 350 GSM in weight. That is, they get thicker as they go up, as the number goes up. They work very well on a single surface, where you use them, maybe a tray or a box or coasters. Blending two papers gets tough. It could look messy. If that's, a lot of mixed media artists do use pattern papers in their work. It adds a lot of texture. If that's what you're going for, then definitely yes, you could. But I prefer using pattern papers on a single surface, on a flat surface. However big the surface is, I don't mind it as long as it's one plane, if that's making sense. Lots of brands available in the market. I design a lot of pattern papers myself. I will leave some links to those as well. There are a lot of American and European brands that make pattern papers. Pattern papers are printed cardstock, thick papers. They're called pattern papers, paper crafting paper, cardstock, printed cardstock, scrapbooking paper. Lots of names for these kinds of papers. Some of the brands that I really love working with in pattern papers, and you'll see a lot of my work, is DCWB, there is Heidi Swap, there is Prima Marketing, American Crafts, let's see, Amy Tangerine, Tim Holtz. I love Tim Holtz. What else? There's Graphic 45, DCWE. There are a lot of Indian brands now making beautiful paper. We have Paperishes, we have Bob and Berry, we have Itsy Bitsy, Handmade.in, Craft Angles from Handmade.in. They make really nice supplies as well. There's of course Crafts-Lane, which does print a lot of my designs, and also there's a lot of other designs. So there are a lot of options available in terms of pattern papers. Pattern papers are generally available in 12 by 12, 6 by 6, 8 by 8, maybe A4 in some of these brands. And some of these are single-sided, some of them are even double-sided. They're meant for scrapbooking and other various arts. I personally don't use double-sided papers. It's just heartbreaking to glue down a beautiful print, but you will have a lot of beautiful designs in double-sided papers as well. They also come in a pack because they're meant to be used as a collection, and some brands even sell single sheets, so you don't have to buy an entire pack. So you could keep a lookout for that as well. Pattern papers are available in majority of the craft and art and craft supply stores right now. A lot of people are buying them for a lot of reasons. So they're very nice for decoupage as well. The next is within paper. The next is decoupage paper. These papers are slightly thinner, a lot thinner actually. They're very easy to. They're very very easy to work on different surfaces. They're thin, so you can work on a curved surface. They come in lots of finishes. They come in matte, they come in gloss, and they're usually about 60 to 100 GSM in thickness. Again, lots of brands who are making these papers. There is Stamperia, whose papers I used the very first time. You have Bob and Berry, you have Stamperia, you have Itsy Bitsy, that's making some beautiful decoupage papers. There is Craft Angles from Handmade.in, again an Indian brand. Let's see who else is making decoupage papers. Crafts-Lane, some of the brands. So these are some of the ones that I typically use. So rice papers are my all-time favorite. These are these really thin, very malleable papers that will just that can work on any surface, any material, any type of base, and they're just they come in beautiful, vibrant colors. And they will just curve on any surface, and it's very easy to blend over them. They're also very forgiving, so let's say you've glued it down in a place and you don't like it, you could just absolutely you could quickly pull it out while the glue is still wet, and then reposition it. It will not tear. It lets you play around a little. And the brands, there are a lot of Italian brands and European brands that are making rice paper. I use Stamperia extensively. I love the quality of paper and the designs and print. There are other brands like Decoupage and a couple of others who are making rice papers, so you could try them out. There's also Decoupage paper that Bob and Betty, an Indian brand, is manufacturing. They are in between rice paper and Decoupage paper, so they're not they're thicker than rice paper, but definitely thinner than a Decoupage paper. So I'd say they're somewhere in between these two, and I think which is why they're also named slightly differently. They're not named they're not under the rice paper or the Decoupage paper category. So you could give that a try. I've just done a couple of projects with them. It's a very new product for me as well, and I like it so far. I still have to learn how to use it in my style of work, but that's something that you guys can try. Okay, decoupage napkins. Now these are fabulous. These are nothing but printed napkins. These are nothing but printed tissue paper, and they come in beautiful designs. Most of these are made in Germany and other European countries. Napkins are my favorite again. They need a little bit of practice, but once you figured how to use them, they're versatile. They're beautiful again. Stores, I have bought a lot of napkins in local Indian stores as well, like Lifestyle, Metro Cash and Carry. I'm not sure if Metro is in other cities. Metro is in other cities. Metro Cash and Carry. There's a local grocery departmental store called MK Retail, and I've bought some beautiful napkins from them as well. And now that decoupage has gotten really popular, a lot of these online art and craft stores are stocking decoupage napkins. You can buy them individually or a piece, or you could buy a pack of Crafts Lane sells these napkins by a pack of 20, and they're very helpful for someone like me who conducts a lot of workshops. They're cheaper and it's easier for me to source napkins in bigger quantity. They're definitely cost effective, so if you're working in bigger numbers, absolutely buy these in a pack. Or you can definitely buy these in individual patterns, individual designs as well. I am not sure of the brands that make these because I haven't bought from brands directly or the manufacturers. I've always bought these napkins from Indian retailers. So and I buy mostly in singles, so I don't know the brands, but I know the Indian craft stores that are selling these. Itsy Bitsy sells them, of course Craftsland sells them. So there's Crafters Corner, the Craft Shop, lots of these online brands that are selling napkins. So that's something that you should try. Let's see, there is gift wrapping paper. Absolutely, you can use gift wrapping paper. You just have to be slightly careful about the kind of print that it has. Some of them, if they're not good quality, they tend to bleed. So you might want to you might want to be slightly careful, but you can most definitely use gift wrapping paper. I buy a lot of gift wrapping paper from stores, from local stores like Favendia, Itsy Bitsy, what else, Chumbak, and the projects are beautiful. The next is you can definitely use photographs. I haven't done a project with a photograph before. But that's something that you can absolutely work on. The next is magazine cutouts. You could do a magazine or newspaper cutouts. If you like something, you can definitely use a sheet of a magazine or a newspaper. My very first decoupage project that I did for my cousin as a wedding present was a magazine cutout on an MDF box. This was a box. The blue ornate pattern was a photograph of a plate, if I'm not wrong, and then I just cut that piece off and then painted the rest, and just added some block printing at the bottom. It was, looking back, it's a very childish project, but it was a lot of fun, and it absolutely pushed me in the direction of exploring art and craft more, again, and eventually designing paper and workshops and tutorials. So that's one of my favorite boxes. What else? You could definitely, and printing your own paper. So I print my own paper. The two ways that I print is I either I design and print myself, or I design and for a brand that's already that makes pattern papers. So places like Craftsland. There's another individual seller in Bombay whose name is Jasmine Siddiqui, a dear friend of mine. And of course now I'm teaming up with Bob and Betty, and we just released our new collection yesterday. And so these I have designed. I sent them the files and they printed themselves. I do print some of. I have also printed. I love printing. I love spending time at the printers, test prints, the smell, and fresh hot prints out of the press are just absolutely my favorite. So once in a while I do print my own papers just because I love and I enjoy the process. But for me it takes up a lot of my time and energy trying to distribute it, sell it individually. It is not for someone like me. So I prefer keeping it. I prefer just designing and letting them print and worry about the sales and distribution and packaging and parcels and stuff like that. So own prints, what I usually get, the ones that I print are offset. Offset requires you to, offset can be really cheap if it is, offset prints can be really cheap if they are printed in huge numbers, huge, like 10, 15, 20,000 sheets. Only then will the cost kind of be marginal. Actually, offset printers don't even take small jobs, because a lot of paper, just it takes a lot of prints just to get the colors right. So for every print you have about that many wasted sheets, test prints, and an individual just cannot afford to print in that huge quantity. The other two ways that you could do smaller quantities, even a single page, is either get digital print or laser print. Most of the printers that we have at home are inkjet, and they tend to bleed. So I wouldn't recommend an inkjet printer. Use a laser printer or a digital printer. If you're in India, Printo, Print Express, these kind of places do have digital printers, and any place that will, so, or any place that will print an A3, A4 size posters are usually digital printers. So you could take your design and ask them to, and get them to print it in the size that you want. So the paper you would want to print it on can be anywhere from 100 to about 350 GSM. Here is a project that I did with a paper with a digital print. That is my mom in her teens, and I just absolutely love that photograph. Her brother, my uncle, is a photographer, and they have some of the most beautiful black and white portraits from the 60s and 70s, and I love using them. So this is a project that I did. With the paper. That's about 350 GSM, and it's a handmade textured paper. You could pick any paper that you like. The printers generally have a sample of papers, and you could try them out. I would suggest try out as many papers as you can, and you will have a preference at the end of the day. You can also absolutely sketch on or hand draw on any drawing sheet, any sheet, and then apply and then use that sketch, drawing, painting on a project as well. That can absolutely be done. Absolutely. These are a set of 12 by 12 papers by Heidi Swap. They could be anywhere between maybe 160 to 200 GSM. This is a pack of 40 or 45 sheets, and they are beautifully coordinated with each other. These are single-sided, 12 by 12 in size. Gorgeous designs. They're pretty thick, as you can see. This is another pack. This is by Maggie Holmes. This is another set by American Crafts. You can see how super cute the designs are, and they go really well with each other. This is a pack that I designed. These are Indian themed papers. These are single-sided, and I think they're about 130, 140 GSM, making them perfect for decoupage. This is another 12 by 12 paper pack by Bob and Betty. This one's called Rosette. And these are, I think, 12 designs. And these are double-sided papers. These are gorgeous, gorgeous designs. And so you see, they have beautiful designs on both sides. And I won't be able to bring myself to glue down one side. But these are also options that you could try. Like I said, pattern papers are also now being designed and sold in smaller packs. This is a set of 2 papers that I designed for Crafts Lane. One of my favorite sets again. And these work so beautifully for decoupage. They're also really easy on the pocket. So a lot of people prefer it. Pattern papers are available in 6x6 and 8x8 packs as well. This one is a 6x6 pack by Paperishes. Paperishes makes beautiful pattern papers. You must try them out. This is another brand. This is another Indian brand called Craftangles by handmade.in. And they make lovely pattern papers and decoupage papers. Their stencils are also my favorite, actually. These are decoupage papers by the same brand, Craftangles. These are masculine themed A4 size papers. These feel slightly thinner than our regular printer sheets, so I'm thinking these should be around 80 GSM, if I'm not wrong. Bob and Betty makes beautiful decoupage paper as well. Their paper is slightly textured and has a beautiful cream yellow tint to it, the texture is beautiful, and so is the print. These are my new current favorites. A lot of brands make rice papers, but the Italian brands are pretty famous. Stamperia is one of the Italian brands that I shop from often. These are some of the A4 papers, and I have a big collection of A3 as well. Rice papers are really strong and sturdy and very forgiving. Decoupage napkins, these come in packs of 20 or 30 generally. So if you're buying it from a supermarket, this is how you'll find them. Crafts Lane sells them in bigger packs as well, and they can also be bought individually. So these are some of the designs that I have. I have a roll of wallpaper that I have, that's beautiful gold foiled, and I have used this for decoupage as well. Works very well. And of course, gift wrapping paper. These papers are from Itsy Bitsy. They have some beautiful huge big sheets for 30 rupees. These are the Indian themed decoupage paper from Itsy Bitsy. Let's see, these are handmade sheets and screen printed. These are pretty thick and big as well, but they work. I have done some projects with these and they work really, really well. The next topic of discussion is the next product is glue. Very important again. We're only talking about gluing the project. We're only talking about gluing the paper to the project. We're not discussing varnish right now. We will come to varnish later. Typically I use decoupage glue. Mod Podge is one of them. In fact, I have it right here. This is my all-time favorite, absolutely go-to glue. This is by Plaid. This is by Plaid, and this is an American company, if I'm not wrong. They have a ton of products, art and craft supplies that are beautiful, and Mod Podge is a range. Of decoupage glue. They have different varieties of Mod Podge as well. They have paper, they have finishes, they have antique finish, matte, gloss, satin. They have fabric decoupage, they have sparkle decoupage. Sorry, they have fabric Mod Podge, they have glitter Mod Podge, antique finish. What else? They have dishwasher safe decoupage glue, dishwasher safe Mod Podge. Yeah, they have photo transfer Mod Podge. So Mod Podge is a type of decoupage glue, and this is like absolutely go-to. There are lots of other brands that are selling decoupage glue. There's a brand called Heritage that sells Mod Podge, but that has a different spelling. Initially I started using them, and that brand is also something that I prefer, that I like. You have decoupage glue by Indian brands like Papericious and Itsy Bitsy. Those are well made. Those are well made glues as well. I also use, because Mod Podge is expensive, I also use acrylic gel or matte medium. I love gel medium compared to, I used to use acrylic matte medium a lot, but I have started preferring acrylic gel medium, and most of the times I use it for glue, and I use it as a top coat as well, but that's a personal preference. You do get lots of brands that are selling acrylic gel medium. I use the one that's mostly easily available here in India, by acrylic gel medium by Camlin, but then there are lots of beautiful, there are lots of brands that are selling gel medium, and I would highly recommend that you give it a try. This is Mod Podge. They have Mod Podge for paper. This is paper and paper on paper sticking. This can be anything actually. I do have, this is the Heritage brand that I was talking about. It also says Mod Podge, but it's spelled slightly differently. This is a South African brand. So if you find this brand, I absolutely love this as well. You should try it. Let's see what else we have. Okay, gel medium, acrylic gel medium. This one's by Camlin. This is a big case. This is about 600 rupees, and for 500 ml. A bottle like this will easily last me an year, depending on the amount of projects that you do, but they're definitely worth the money. They're definitely worth the money. So let's see, we have we've covered chalk paints. The way to varnish chalk paints, I use a wood varnish. I'll come to what I use for chalk paints. A lot of guys recommend using wax as a sealer. You will see a lot of tutorials online where the artist is using wax to seal off chalk paints. That is recommended as well. I haven't used it personally, but when I do, I will definitely keep you updated. For now, I use I use the same varnish that I use for acrylic paints, and they seeming to work very well. I don't seem to have any problems. This one's Decoupage glue by Paperishes, and this is a glue by Itsy Bitsy. So I have used this as well, and these are something you can definitely try. Alright, so what else? I do get a lot of questions about people wanting to try Fevicol and water. To be honest, I've not done this myself, but I have heard a lot of people use any standard white glue with a little bit of water for gluing products down, and you could absolutely give that a try. You won't, it is not something that I have personally tried, so you won't hear me recommend it. So glue is done. We have the next I wanted to discuss is bases. What kind of base can so a lot of questions that I get is I have a metal bucket or a metal planter, can I decoupage? I have a old wooden trunk, can I decoupage that? I have a old metal kettle, can I decoupage that? So absolutely. so the answer is yes, absolutely. The possibilities are endless. And also I get questions on where I buy these bases, whatever I'm using. So just to list a few things down, I use a lot of MDF because let's see, it's cheaper, lightweight, great finish, easily available. I enjoy working with MDF products. MDF, of course, I buy it from Crafts-Lane, but there are a lot of brands selling MDF products. You could give it a try. Crafts-Lane's, I blindly recommend products from Crafts-Lane because they're finished fantastically. They are double sealed and sanded down really smooth. But if you are buying MDF from another supplier, you could maybe you could check for the quality, and if you like it, then absolutely you can buy or get these made even. So if you're buying, if you're planning to get wooden bases made yourself, either MDF or solid wood, you could. What you will have to do is make sure that it's good quality, it's sanded and sealed well, so it's smooth on the edges, and also it's not too porous, otherwise a lot of your paint and glue will start soaking in. The base will start soaking in all your product, and you might not like that finish. One other way you could work around that is make sure to prime your products. Use a primer from a hardware store and completely give it a nice coat of primer, and then decoupage. The next is metal. You can absolutely decoupage on metal. I have a couple of videos on I will leave the links of those as well. I have decoupaged a metal tray and an old milk can, and the projects and I'm still using them. They are in great condition, so you can absolutely use metal bases. The metal bases I have bought are from local markets, so I might not be able to leave a link to these for you, but I'm sure your local markets will have a ton of metal bases that you can use. There is a metal kettle somewhere in my room. I am planning to decoupage that soon. I will have that video up as well. Don't I don't use food grade varnish or paints, so I don't recommend using these products in the kitchen for serving food or beverages. It can definitely be a decor piece, and if you're able to use food grade paints and varnish, then by all means you could, and maybe dishwasher safe varnish and paints, then absolutely you can go ahead and use these for serving food and drinks. But my tutorials, if you're following what I do, and I definitely don't recommend that you do that you use these products for food or beverage. The next is plastic. A lot of people ask me if they can decoupage old plastic cans or tins or boxes. You definitely can, but I don't like using plastic as a medium, so you wouldn't see me working with plastic, but you can absolutely do that. You can definitely work with ceramic, terracotta, let's see, leather, faux leather, canvases. What else? So that's about it with bases. I want to show you. I love working with glass bottles in particular. This is a wine bottle that I've upcycled, and that requires a base coat and then napkin. That's worked with napkin. That's what a glass bottle looks like, with a nice even coat of gesso. That's a work in progress on my desk. I've also recently started working with faux leather. These are luggage tags. If you go to my Instagram page, you will see I've just made some luggage tags for my brother, and I really enjoyed working with this material. I will definitely make a tutorial on this as well. MDF, of course, is one of my favorite mediums to work with. It's they're lightweight, they're cheap, easily available, and lots of bases, lots of objects I can work with. This is another type of wood. I'm thinking this is birch wood, if I'm not wrong. I don't know. So if any of you know what this material is called, please let me know. It's light in weight. It's actually lighter than MDF, but feels pretty sturdy. Canvases are super fun to work on as well. This around this much is a napkin, and the one next to it is paint, acrylic and chalk paint. I have worked with aluminum cans as well. I have a video tutorial on how I worked on an aluminum on a milk can with rice paper. I will leave that link as well. And here's a steel kettle that I will be working on. I have worked on steel previously. It is fun to work on. Next, I think we can talk about brushes. Now, there are three very important brushes that I usually use. Brushes are really important. It's very important that you invest in a good set of brushes. I've seen a lot of people sometimes bring their brushes to the workshop, to my workshops, and I cannot work with them. They're really bad. They could be expensive, but they're not of good quality. So it's important that you invest in good, expensive, branded brushes. It makes a huge difference in the output. It's important that you buy good brushes. So unfortunately, I can't leave a link to the brushes I buy because I buy them at a local art supply store here in Bangalore. It's called Bhaskarat Center. For anyone who is in Bangalore or in and around Bangalore, if you want to buy art supplies, then Bhaskarat Center in my college, Chitrakala Parishad. Also, they have another store in Chickpet where they have beautiful brushes. And they're not really expensive actually. They are very cost effective and fantastic in quality. So so brushes I would highly recommend. Typically for decoupage, there are three sizes of brushes that I generally use. Typically for decoupage, I have roughly three, 4 sizes of brushes that I use, so I'll just walk you through these. This is again from Sugam. It's the brush that I bought locally. How to check for a good brush? I think I'm not an expert on that subject, so maybe I will research and leave some links below about artists who know about brushes. What I do know is these brushes hold their shape. They don't really, the hair doesn't really come out. These are synthetic brushes, and the brush is always holds that shape. It doesn't form a lump when it is wet, and it dries in this shape. They're sturdy yet really flexible, and most importantly, it doesn't keep shedding, so you don't have random brush hair in your projects. So I use a thick brush like this for varnish, top coat. I also use it for gluing down the projects. I generally try and avoid using these brushes for paints. You will still see a lot of paint that I've used, but it's easier to keep it. I would recommend that you keep one brush, a big brush like this, for just for gluing down, so you don't contaminate. If you have bits of dried paint on this, if you haven't washed it off properly, then it will tend to contaminate your glue, and that's not something that I recommend. I have gotten pretty lazy, so I do mix up my brushes, but I don't recommend that you do. Oh, this brush is about 18, size 18. They will differ from brands, but this is maybe let's see, half an inch. This is roughly an inch. This brush is roughly an inch, and this size works very well. Anything bigger than this, you might not be able to control it really well. Smaller than this will still work, but it will take longer to finish your coat. But this is a good brush. The second brush, the second type of brush that I really like working with is a size, let's see, this is a size 9 from a brand, right? And this is size 14 from another brand. So they look almost similar, but then there's a huge difference, about 5 points different. So you see that the size of the brush will differ from brand to brand. What you could roughly remember is probably how thick they are in terms of centimeters or inches. So you remember. This one is, let's see, this one is about 2 centimeters. This one is about 2 centimeters, maybe half an inch. I typically use these for gluing down, for painting, napkins especially. I work in small sections, so these brushes work very well. I also blend with brushes like this, and you will see a lot of my brushes. Look at this, I didn't wash it, so that happens. Brushes of this size, I generally use it for blending paint as well. And I would highly recommend that you have a couple of these brushes in your stash. I have some brands, I have some brushes from, let's say, Itsy Bitsy as well. This is, I don't know the size, but this is also, so I really enjoy brushes by Itsy Bitsy as well. So you could definitely give these guys a try. I also have, this is size 3. I also have a couple of these round pointed I also have these couple of round pointed brushes that I use for detailing. These are pretty helpful. Again, you could buy from number 0 to this one. This one's a 3. You could do that. You also have something called stencil brushes. They look like this. And these work very well with stencils. This one's by Crafts Lane, but a lot of brands do sell this. I use them very occasionally. I just use a sponge for stencils, but this is a useful brush to have in your stash. Let's see, I've covered brushes. Care instructions for brushes is I keep a tub nearby when I'm painting, and as soon as I'm done, I immediately put it in it. And then at the end of the project, once I'm done for the day, I wash them. Sometimes I do forget and leave them in the tub. I don't recommend that. So some of my brushes do get ruined. Most of my brushes do get ruined. That's because I forget. But I will recommend keeping a big bowl of water next to you. And just keep dipping your brushes in it, and you could once in a while wash them with warm soapy water. That will help keep them good as well. That's about it. So brushes, don't cheap out on brushes. Buy good branded brushes. Okay, paints. Okay, paints. I use acrylic paints extensively because they are very easy to work with. They are water, they wash off with water, they are non-toxic, they're odorless, and they dry really fast. So so acrylic paints is something that I really enjoy working. In acrylic paints, I use the typical. I buy again. I use Camlin, which is the most easily available brand here in India. But you can use any artist grade acrylic paints. Those are available. You will need slightly fluid acrylic, so don't buy tiny tubes. Some of the ones that I use are these bottles. This one's by Camlin. It's called Fabrica acrylic colors, and these are by Fevicryl. You get them in beautiful shades, and they are maybe $20 for about 15 ml. For someone who is starting off, for someone who wants a lot of shades, these work really well. So you could buy, they come in, I don't know, maybe 30-40 shades. So you could buy a set of these, and these are bought individually as well. They're very helpful for me for my workshops. And any beginner starting off, I would recommend that you buy these. These are cheap, easy to use. They're also pretty diluted, so you don't need to mix water, and you can just start working with them. I also use acrylics out of tubes, these are from Camlin as well, and again you get a lot of shades, and I love working with these paints. These are slightly thicker than the ones that you get in bottles, and they're expensive as well. This one's about $300. This one is $200, depending on this is a golden metallic shade. This one's just a shade of blue. The price for these tubes differ depending on the color and the pigment that's going in. Some of the other brands that I have, this one is by Stamperia, and this one's the German brand Pebeo. And they are absolutely beautiful. It's just so beautiful. I typically use Camlin a lot because these are cheaper, and they're actually really, really good quality. Okay, so what were we discussing? Paints. So acrylic paints. You also get acrylic paints in bigger bottles like this one. So I love yellow. I buy it in a bigger, I use a lot of yellow, so I buy it in a bigger container. This one, the label is off, but this is acrylic white as well. This is acrylic paint as well. This is a white shade. I use a lot of white in my projects, so I buy them in bigger bottles. Right, so I also sometimes use sprays. These are sprays that you could get in a hardware store. These are sprays that go on automobiles, bikes and cars, but I do use them I do use them sometimes as well. These have to be used outdoors in an open space, in a well ventilated area, so I don't prefer using them that much, but that's definitely an option that you can try. What else we have? There are these beautiful artist paints. There are these beautiful water-based paints from Crafts Lane. These are imported from Italy. These are very similar to acrylic paints, but they're not tacky to touch, and they come in lots of sizes, and I have a big tray of those as well. What's next? My new favorite, I've been using chalk paints for, let's see, a little over an year now, and I love chalk paints. I love chalk paints. You will not understand how beautiful these are until you use them. So I would highly recommend that you buy chalk paints. In the US, you get chalk paints by the liter, I think. Annie Salon or any of these brands. So they use a lot of chalk paints for furniture and a lot of DIY projects. In India, however, you're getting them in smaller containers. Let's see, in smaller containers. It's advantageous because it's easier on the pocket, and you can buy a lot of shades. But if you're doing a big project like painting a piece of furniture or something, you might want to buy a bigger container. So or you might have to buy multiple small containers. So that's slightly tricky. So the brands that I use, so chalk paints are beautiful. Chalk paints are absolutely beautiful. You have to try them. You have to try them, guys. Let's see. The brands that I really love are and I use a lot are Itsy Bitsy. These guys were one of the first ones to come out with chalk paints range in India, and they're beautiful. They have beautiful shades, and they keep coming up with new shades, and they keep coming out with new shades, and these are beautiful. I might just end up eating them one day. They're just delicious. Of course, there's Paperishes that's making chalk paints as well. And these are beautiful. They have beautiful bright shades, and I love these. I bought some chalk paints from another brand called Craftangles. These are actually the same price, but they come in slightly bigger bottles. If you look at, see. Right, it's for the same price. I have tried it, and I like these as well. Bitsy that brings out chalk paints in a bigger container. So this one's about 450 ml. So this is I tend to use white a lot, so I bought a bigger container of this. So I think I have everything covered. We've talked about chalk paints. Varnish. Now, varnish is tricky. Why do you need... So this is a top coat varnish. This is the when I say varnish, I mean the final coat before your product is will go out into the world, and people will start using it. Varnish is absolutely essential. A lot of people ask me why you should varnish something, because you've used paints and you've used paper, and unless you varnish them, they will not last long. They won't last, let's say, the weather. They won't last humidity, dust, any spillage of water, wear and tear, scratches and stuff like that. So it's absolutely essential that you varnish your projects. Now, when I say varnish, what do I do? What do I mean? You could absolutely, this is a varnish as well. This can go as a top coat, as well as glue. So in some projects you will see me just leaving the project with either a coat of Mod Podge or gel medium on the top, which is absolutely fine. These projects I'm not anticipating a lot of wear and tear. So let's say if there's a box that I've made for myself, or if there is a kitchen decor or something that's going up on the wall, I just want to make sure that it doesn't fade and doesn't have any doesn't let the dust ruin it. So a layer of Mod Podge or gel medium is more than enough. But for the projects that will come in contact with water, any kind of water, any kind of beverages, if people will touch it too often, then I would recommend using a top layer, top coat varnish. Use something that is, for example, if we have coasters or trays, you want to make it heat resistant, you want to make it water resistant. These varnish does not make a product waterproof, because at the end of the day, it is still wood and paper and paint, so it is still susceptible to wear and tear. But varnish will definitely bring down the process, will help you safeguard from the usual wear and tear. I have had products for many years now without a lot of damage. But these are still handmade products, so they have to be handled with care. So the varnish that I use, like I said, I use sometimes I use Mod Podge. It's absolutely okay, and gel medium. I do use spray varnish as well. So this one's a flat clear varnish. This is something that you could typically get at a hardware store. Amazon sells it, Itsy Bitsy will sell it. Itsy Bitsy is selling it. I also sometimes use an acrylic varnish. This one's by Winsor & Newton, and it's a beautiful matte varnish and spray varnish. And for products, sometimes I use it over the product, over the final coat, if I want the product to look extremely matte and antique and vintage. That's when I will use this as well. So this is really expensive. This one is about 1400 bucks. Yeah, this one right here is about 1400 rupees. This is maybe 300. So they're about the same weight, but this is 300 and this one is 1400. So you see, the quality, you'll absolutely get what you paid for. The quality of Winsor & Newton is fantastic. So spray varnish, I sometimes use that as well. Typically 90% of my projects I will finish with this amazing product. This one's Aquador PU by Asian Paints. This is a water-based wood finish for interiors. You do get exteriors as well. You could use either. I generally prefer and use the interior varnish. The reason I use Aquador as the top final coat on any product is because it'll make the product water resistant, heat resistant, which is very important for coasters and trays where you have hot beverages, cups of hot beverages that might stick to the product if you've just used Mod Podge. Mod Podge will react with the climate. It tends to get very tacky when it's really hot. But Aquador will completely solve that issue. So you will see me use this typically in most of my projects. Let's see, so it's water resistant, it's heat resistant, it's dust resistant, and also, so you could get any of that qualities in a wood varnish. You don't typically have to go buy, you don't really need to go buy this product, but if you find this, then this is fantastic, because it's water based, so your brushes can just be cleaned with water. It is fast drying, which is fantastic. It's odorless, which is really good, because I have a lot of allergies, and I don't use any spirit based products, be it paints or varnishes. It's perfect for us to use in a closed space like this one. So Aquador is fantastic that way. It's a silky smooth finish. So if you've tried it once, you will know how beautiful it is, and you don't really have to look for anything else. But Aquador definitely is somehow not available in a lot of states here in India, not even most of the stores. So I'm not sure why that is, but if you can't find this, then any wood varnish can work. Go to a hardware store and ask for a wood varnish that can be used as a top coat, and you can buy anything that the carpenter recommends. That's about it for varnish, I guess. Do leave me a comment. A lot of brands are now selling top coat varnish, so you could just definitely buy those. Let's see what's next. Base coat. So I do get this question a lot as well. People trying to figure out what base coat, where do you use it, how to use it, why would you need it, very importantly. So two reasons why you need a base coat. One, when your paper is really thin, the base of your product will show. So if you're using, let's say, a brown, what I have on my desk, okay, let's say you have an MDF box of this sorts, and you have a white, you have a tissue, you have a printed tissue. What happens is the tissue is so thin that once you glue it down, your base will start showing. The color of your base will start showing. And sometimes that does look nice, but most of the times you don't want that color to interfere. This could be a darker brown, this could be any color. You don't want this color to interfere with your paper's color. So you'll use a white or an off-white base coat, and then use these papers. So when it comes to, let's say, rice paper, decoupage paper, or napkins which are really thin and transparent or translucent, you will need a base coat. Now, base coat, that's the first reason why you'd use a base coat. Second, if your product is very non-porous or porous, you would want to use a layer of base coat to kind of seal it, like a primer. So for example, the diyas that we use for Diwali, the terracotta diyas that we use for Diwali, traditionally we soak them in a bucket of water for maybe a day or maybe overnight. So soaking in a lot of water, and then you dry it, and then you pour in oil, because now you don't want a lot of oil to kind of seep into the clay. So that happens with wood, terracotta, any of these products that are too porous. If you start applying glue or something, it will just suck the whole medium in. And if you're painting it, it tends to dull your paint out. So a layer of a base coat will kind of fix that issue. So typically before painting a wall, a painter does the same thing. He will apply primer, let it dry, and then apply the shade of paint that you require. So the same thing. So two reasons. One, the paper is too thin, you will use base coat. So a paper, so a magazine cutout, a pattern paper, gift wrapping paper might not need a base coat. So if you see me use thick papers, you will see that I will not use a base coat. And anything thin, I will use a base coat. Second, like I said, if you have old wooden products or terracotta, ceramic, any of these really porous surfaces, or if you have a non-porous surface like a glass or a metal object base, they are really shiny and smooth, and you might not be able to adhere your product on to that surface very well. So a base coat will add a little bit of a tooth, a little bit of texture, which will help your products that will come afterwards to stick and adhere well to this base. So those are the two reasons you'll use base coat. So base coat, I generally stick to white or off-white colors in base coat. I will do a little demo in maybe my next video where I'll show you what happens if you use a darker shade as a base coat. Now, what can you use as a base coat? I very typically like using artist gesso. Gesso again comes in different finishes. You have clear gesso, black gesso, and white gesso typically, and I use white gesso. I use this brand Campbell, and I apply it either with a brush or a sponge, and that's my go-to favorite base coat brand. There is gesso, lots of brands sell gesso. There is another brand called Montmartre that Itsy Bitsy sells. This gesso is a little more watered down, so I don't and you have there's a different kind of texture that forms when you use that, so that's something that I use, but only in case of emergencies. You have primers that you could buy at a hardware store. I don't generally use it. I don't have it with me to show you, but that is something that you can definitely buy. You could use acrylic white paint. If you don't have gesso, you could just use a coat of white. You also can use the spray paints again. These are alcohol based, these are spirit based paints, and you get them in various shades. You could use white of this as well. What else? You can most definitely use chalk paints as well, and again white or off-white works very well. Supplies, what else? We have fabric. You could absolutely use fabric to decoupage. I have done some beautiful projects with fabric. Any fabric that's not too thick, so cotton, satin, crepe, polyester, blended, what else? Any of these fabrics will work. Thicker fabric like canvas or jute might not adhere very well to the surface, but anything thinner than those will work very well. So that's about it for the part 1. These are the very basic supplies that I use. I will make another part with some more accessories and supplies that I use for my projects. Like I said, I will try to leave links of most of the as many products as I can in the description box below the video, and I would love to hear any more questions that you guys might have, any feedback for this video, and any feedback for any future videos that you want to see. So let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I was able to clear some of your doubts, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for joining me.